home buyer classes and so on and so forth. So that's why I'm with Wintrust Mortgage. I have been a mortgage banker for longer than I care to admit, but say 30 years plus. So I've been doing this for a very long time, and it is my passion. So with that being said, I will go ahead and get started into the first part of our presentation, which is the loan officer presentation. And that's typically your first initial meeting and something you would do very first before you would go to look at a property that you'd like to purchase. Why, you ask? The reason is you need to know what you to purchase. Nothing worse than finding a house that you absolutely love and then meeting up with your loan officer and finding out, oh my gosh, I don't qualify. That is definitely not something you want to do. So one of your first phone calls should be to, someone that you would like to work with as far as a mortgage goes. You call that person up. I'm going to use me as an example. So you give me a jingle and I'll say, okay, what are you looking to do? I'll take some basic information down so that I have my notes, and then it would typically be, I can do them on the spot, but some people like to get all their documentation in order first. So you can set up an appointment at any time, and that's typically via in person, more so right now via Zoom or telephone due to COVID restrictions, of course. Definitely be done in person with social distancing. And I'll give you a list of needs list items to bring with you. Typically speaking, I would like to see paycheck stubs, W-2s, and asset statements. That way, when I'm doing my qualifications for you, I'm using actual numbers and not just a guesstimate, so that there's no surprises when the time comes for making your offer. So what we'll do is, once the appointment is set, or if you're ready to go at the time of discussion, what I would do is go online and complete a loan application for you. I'm sorry? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, you're good, Lori. Someone else was talking. I muted their call.
Okay. I gotcha. Okay. So what I would do at that point would be to take your loan application, put all your information in there, all the asset information, income information, as well as any other pertinent information that we need to do. At that point in time, we'll run your credit report to make sure everything is all good there. And then we pretty much do the full qualification process right then and there. I'll go over all of your numbers, and we can certainly back into what you can afford or what mortgage payment you'd like to pay. And the reason I say that is because what you can qualify for on paper is usually very much different than what you want to pay out of your pocket each month. So I always like to look at both, what you can afford and the monthly payment that you'd like to stay around. And then I back into those numbers to make sure you qualify. So once we get all of that done, we go over all of that. I go over all of the terms as far as what it would look like when that time comes, as far as finding your home and what you need to do when you do find a home. But after that, I would give you a pre-qual letter. And I would also get that over to your realtor and or attorney, whoever you would need that to go to as an extra, so that when the time comes for you to make that offer on a property that you'd like to buy, you have a full pre-approval with you, so that the sellers know that you are actually qualified to purchase the home. One of the good things about a pre-qualification is at least with me, they are run through an automated underwriting system based off of the documentation that I've received from you. So I literally do have it's basically underwritten at that point in time. So you know that when you're giving that pre-qual to your seller with your offer, they know that you're a strong buyer and you actually qualify for their property that you want to buy. And then I typically just sit and wait while you go house shopping. Now I'm actually done a little bit earlier, Jim, because I started a little bit earlier. So I don't know if you want to go ahead and move forward, or
yeah, we're going to hold questions to the end.
If anybody has any questions for me.
If there's any questions in the chat box, I will grab them if necessary, or we'll bring them up at the end. But yeah, I think just keep rolling.
Sounds good.
You want to?
Okay, then I'm going to pass it right back on to Aaron Dirks, who will discuss the real estate agent's role in our process today.
Okay, my portion, I'm going to be a little biased, is the most fun of all of the segments because you literally get to go house shopping. but it is also, right now in today's market, it's also very stressful. So anyways, most buyers want to go out and, once you have your letter from your lender, that is key in today's market. But once you have that letter, most buyers want to immediately go and see houses. And I highly recommend having a meeting with your real estate agent, sitting down with them and going over what the most important things to you as a home buyer are. And that will come up again in my spiel in a minute. Right now, it is a tough time, but a great time to buy houses. And I say tough time because we're in today's market, we're seeing multiple offers on homes. There's not enough homes for sale as there are buyers that are looking. But it's a great time because interest rates are really low. Piggybacking on what Lori just went over, having that letter in hand and having it have gone through that underwriting system is really important for your strong offer. You definitely, as a home buyer, want to work with an agent who knows the market. They can send you homes through a search that will hopefully be within about 80 to 100% of what you're looking for. But most likely, we know that home buyers today have access to most of the homes that are for sale, even for sale by owner homes, have websites. But sit down and talk with them about what you really want so that they can see stuff coming up. For example, they might know of a listing that's coming up that's not quite out there yet for the public to see. You may have not seen it yet. They can do some research for you on FSBO websites. FSBO means for sale by owner. And together you guys will find a list of homes to go see. These days, houses are going really fast. We are seeing them get listed, and then within a matter of hours to a couple of days, they are under contract. Sometimes they are sold while processing if somebody knows that they're coming up. So it's really, really important to have all your ducks in a row, have your pre-qualification letter, make sure you've got an agent that knows the market, and talk with your agent and ask them, what is going to win us this house? What are the tips you can give us for how to make this the strongest offer? And, definitely take their advice. They are not out to try to get you to spend more money so they get more commission. They are truly letting you know that there is, it's a fast-paced market at this point in time. So, getting back to my notes here, once you find the house that you know that you are, wanting to put an offer in on, don't delay. You definitely want to make time to get those signatures done, sit down with your real estate agent, go over the contract. It's a 13-page legal document. You need to know what you're signing. So I know that Amber's probably going to touch on a lot of that too, but definitely read through it, ask questions. Hopefully your agent is going through each paragraph with you. And oh no, I'll get it in a minute. Sorry about that. And I've totally lost my train of thought. Everyone in my office is leaving and they told me they were locking me in. So anyways, so know what you're signing and be efficient when you're doing that. Make time to get those signatures on your papers, on your contract, so that you are not delaying. It does help to be efficient and proactive when you're submitting your offers. You're going to need your pre-approval letter. You're going to need the offer, which will turn into the real estate contract. You need to make sure that you've got your signed disclosures. Rewind a little bit. When you go to see your houses, you definitely want to ask your agent to see the disclosures. They should be able to pull them out of the MLS for you. And that way you have a little better idea, what you're getting into. Other things that you kind of want to look for are, anything, do a little research on the house as quickly as you can too. Is this home in a flood zone? Is this home in a special assessment area? Have this crucial conversation with your agent ahead of time so you know what you're getting in. Okay. It's a big deal, but it is the most fun. So having said all of that, Jim, do you need to add anything to that, or can I pass the wand?
Why don't you pass? There's a question that I like to hold to the end.
Okay, all right. Very good. Thank you so much. So I am going to pass this along to John Krasik, who is, well, John, I'm going to let you do your own intro.
I'm here.
And there you go.
Thank you. All right. Well, Aaron had the fun part. I get the, I guess, not so fun part. I get to come through with your house. Well, I guess first of all, I'm John with Win Home Inspection. Nice to meet you all. Once you buy your house with Aaron and whichever realtor here, and you're ready to go, you're going to usually come smiling, and I'm going to meet you at the house after being there about an hour. Home inspections have changed in about 14 years, 15 years. We came with a pencil and a screwdriver 17, 15 years ago. Today, it's a whole different ballgame. We're expected to do much different things. We're flying drones over houses now. We're doing sewer scopes. We're doing radon testing. There's just a lot more to home inspection than just simply a home inspection today. It seems like every year there's just more and more to home inspections. And as you go through this process, all these decisions are going to be thrown at you very quickly. And I find that most of the smoothest transactions that occur is when clients come to me prepared. They understand what radon is. They understand what a sewer scope is. They understand what all these things are, and they're kind of ready for it. If you're coming to this kind of, I guess, blind, watch Homes on Homes. Everybody does. It's kind of similar. I mean, there's infrared cameras, there's moisture meters. There's a lot of things coming to home inspections that 15, 20 years ago did not exist. Sewer scope now being the biggest. That's a whole new inspection process that we're inspecting sewer lines from the point of entry in the house and or the vent on the roof all the way down to the B box. So this is just something that's coming up through, the inner cities and working its way out here. So as the inspection process moves through, there's just more and more decisions for the clients to be making.
So John, what exactly are you inspecting when you do an inspection?
Well, through the inspection process, we're going to take the client through the house. And some clients want to sit and drink coffee and enjoy the process, and we'll take them through it as they like, or we can bring them through step by step. It just depends on the client. And in some cases, we're doing stuff from remote. You're going to get, though, basically a process with two people that comes through the house, and we go through the house as it's there today. 30 days from now, those things and those dynamics change. For instance, snow loads. We haven't been inspecting roofs for months. Now, all of a sudden, they're opened. People are having us to come back out and inspect them for them. So as these dynamics change, so do home inspections. What you should expect through the home inspection process is a thorough inspection of the roof, the attics, crawl spaces, basically every aspect of the house. And if there is systems like radon systems, that inspector should at least be able to give you some background knowledge of that, and go through those systems with you so you understand them.
And why should they hire a home inspector? I mean, maybe someone has an uncle that's an electrician. Why don't they just bring the electrician through?
Electricians are great. They can look at that electrical box 100%. I've been taught a lot about, by electricians. However, the house is just a multi-component being, and it breathes and expands and contracts. And things happen to the house. Electricians are great. I've done inspections for electricians. However, they're limited. Home inspections are just a different animal. We're not a contractor. We're actually a specific group that are, a subsection of contractors.
So what does your license cover?
Well, my personal licenses cover a multitude of things. We are generalists. We're basically not, in short, we are not plumbers. We are not roofers. We are there to look at general conditions of homes. We are there to evaluate ages of homes or ages of the components within the homes, the furnace, water heater, and in some cases the roof if capable.
And then how long does a home inspection typically last? I know there's a wide variety, but how long?
Yeah, I mean, things have changed so much to where, for us at least, we're a team, so we always bring 2 people in. So our inspections kind of are geared slightly different. With the 2-team approach or the 2-person approach, we're able to take off that 3-hour sitting around time and kind of compact it down to about 1 hour and 45 minutes, depending on the house, and make it a little more enjoyable of an experience. I started this business as a single inspector, and those 3.5 hour inspections are grueling. I mean, for everyone, especially our kids there. They're crying, they want to leave. It's a long process. So yeah, we do this as a team now. So about 1.5 hours to 2 hours.
Very good. I think we have a few more questions for you at the end, but I wanted to get those in right away. Anything else, John?
No, that's about it.
Thank you. We're going to kick it over to Amber. Amber Bishop's an attorney with Smith Amundsen. Amber, if you want to tell us a little bit of who you are and your portion of what an attorney does in the home in the process.
Yeah, sure. So as Jim said, I'm Amber Bishop and I work at Smith Amundsen. I'm an attorney there and I practice real estate for buyers and sellers in commercial and residential real estate. And I'm going to explain the attorney's role in the home buying process. So the contract that your real estate agent helps you fill out is a standard form contract that we use here in Illinois. So your real estate agent will be familiar with it. Your attorney will be familiar with it when they get it as well. So you as the buyer will make an offer to the seller, and the seller will either accept that offer or they'll make a counter offer to your offer. They might come back and want a higher purchase price or want a few things changed in the contract before they sign and accept it. So the contract isn't binding until the seller has actually accepted the contract. And then once the seller accepts it, that's when it comes over to the attorneys to review and make any changes that they would advise with your approval of those changes. The one thing that we can't change though is the purchase price. Attorneys aren't allowed to change that. So when you're making your offer, you want to make sure it's as complete as possible, and your real estate agent will help you with that. And as I said, the attorneys will request certain changes to the contract. The other side doesn't have to agree to those changes. They're not guaranteed, but it never hurts to ask for them because they could all be accepted, or they could either accept some and reject others, but it never hurts to ask for them and then see what happens. So one of the first things that I look at when I get a contract in is the fixtures and personal property section. So things like the refrigerator, the stove, the microwave, those are typically included in a real estate contract to be going with the property to the buyer. So you'll get those things. You don't have to purchase those things. The thing is, though, that anything that's freestanding, so if you see a deep freeze in the basement, that necessarily might not be coming with the property. So those are things that you need to take into consideration and either ask for them to be included if you want them, or the seller might write those out of a contract. So you need to be aware of what is and what isn't coming with the property as far as fixtures and personal property. Then I do look at what disclosures you're getting. There's a lead-based paint disclosure that you get. a radon disclosure that you get, I make sure that you've gotten those so that you know as much about the property and what inspections and things that you need to do in advance. I also take a look at the real estate disclosures that the seller fills out to see if there's any material defects that I need to make you aware of. The seller fills out a disclosure that says, are there any major leaks? Are there any foundation issues? So I'll take a look at those to see if I need to bring up anything to you on that regard. Then I do take a look at the tax prorations. Real estate taxes are paid in arrears in Illinois. So you get a credit at closing for taxes. And the typical tax proration in Illinois or for McHenry County is 105%. So I make sure that that's in there appropriately. And then I will look to see if there's an association on a property, because if there's a homeowners association, then there might be extra rules or regulations that you might be subject to. So you'd want to know what those rules are and have those in your possession so you can look over, so you can comply with all the rules. And then I do look at what representations are the seller making in the contract. There are standard representations that they make, such as there's no zoning, building, or fire code violations. That's important, so you make sure the property doesn't have any violations. That they didn't store any hazardous waste on the property, that they haven't done any improvements without the proper permits. That's important, so that way you don't go to sell later and realize that all this work was done and the proper permits were pulled. And then I also do look at the tax bill to see if there's an SSA on the property. An SSA is a special service area, which is a item on the tax bill that it's a higher tax essentially on the tax bill for improvements that have been made to the subdivision. So for instance, if a sewer had gone in, instead of making the homeowner pay a lump sum at once, it's an extra tax on the tax bill so that they pay for that improvement over time. So I always like to look at that to see if your tax bill is going to be a little bit higher because of an SSA. Another thing to consider that will be talked about later as well is whether or not you want a home warranty. Sometimes it's already included because you might know that some of the appliances are older and you need a home warranty, but other times you might have to ask for it later after the initial offer. And then in my attorney review letters, I always like to include an appraisal contingency, which means that if your property doesn't appraise at the purchase price, you can renegotiate the purchase price. So that way, you know you're getting a property that's worth the value of the property. And then you'll get a survey with your home purchase, and I will take a look at the survey in advance and see if there's any encroachments on the survey. And if there are, I'll work with the seller's attorney and the title company to see if we can get insurance over any encroachments. So if a fence is on your property line or anything like that, we'll try to see if we can get insurance over those kind of things. And then you will also get title insurance with the purchase of your property. So the seller will order the title and send it over to me as the buyer's attorney, and I will take a look at that and review to see that, make sure the seller is getting all the necessary title clearance documents to remove things like mortgages and liens, so that those don't come with the property, because that's the seller's responsibility to get those things paid off at closing. Another thing that I will help with is the inspection negotiation. So you'll get your home inspection, and then you'll get a report with all the items on there that could be an issue for the property. We will help review that with you to see if there's any items on that inspection report that you want to ask the seller to fix or ask for a credit for. Those are your two options for inspection items. You can either ask the seller to fix them themselves or ask for a credit at the closing for those repair items. If you ask for a credit, it does let you control who the contractors are repairing those items and who does the work. So that is one benefit of asking for a credit rather than having the seller fix them. And then we will book all the dates and deadlines in your contract into our calendar so that we can help you not miss any dates and deadlines. So you'll have financing deadlines, you'll have inspection deadlines. Those will all get booked in our calendar so that we can remind you in advance of those deadlines so you don't miss anything. And then we come to the closing with you as well, and we'll explain all the lender documents to you. So you know exactly what you're signing and there's no questions about whether or not you should sign something. And then after the closing, you just move in and you enjoy. So I know this was kind of a very quick overview. So if there are any questions, you can put them in the chat box and I'll be happy to answer them later.
Thanks, Amber. Obviously, just from what you said, there's a lot of activities that you guys cover, and the attorney's role is hugely important. Erin, do you have something?
Sorry, yeah, thank you. I just want to piggyback on Amber's entire talk, because I can't stress enough how important it is to have a real estate agent, not a real estate agent, a real estate attorney. I'm the real estate agent. She's the attorney. It is so important to have somebody who specializes in real estate on your side for the attorney part of this. And I often have to, if it's an attorney that I'm unfamiliar with, I definitely ask my client, are they a real estate attorney or are they like a general practice attorney? How many houses have they done? It's important. So thank you, Amber, for being so detailed on that.
And just to piggyback on that, Erin, a great point, because much like the question I asked John about bringing in, some tradesperson to do a home inspection, you want someone that specializes in real estate counsel. There are many attorneys out there and they're wonderful what they do, but they need to be a specialist in real estate to cover the things that Amber just talked about. Erin, did you want to introduce the next one?
I would love to. Next we're going to move on to Amber touched on this a little bit, but the section on home warranties. And I would like to introduce Denise and Lori from Choice Warranty. If you guys want to, I don't see Denise. Is it you, Lori? Is Denise here?
It's just me. Yeah.
Okay.
Just me.
So here's Lori Amato. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Erin. Hi, everybody. My name is Lori Amato. I work for Choice Home Warranty, and I have been in the warranty business for 14 years now. So a long time. So what is a home warranty? It is a contract that covers your systems and appliances in your home that break down due to normal wear and tear. So things that your homeowner's insurance wouldn't cover, we cover, and vice versa. Your refrigerator breaks, you don't call your homeowner's insurance. Your basement floods, you don't call the home warranty. So we kind of complement each other as far as coverages go. So we cover like your heating, your air conditioning, your kitchen appliances, your plumbing, your electrical, all the systems and appliances in your home. Typically around the $600 range, $500–600. And when you're a buyer, it's very important that you have a home warranty because you don't know how somebody previously used the systems and appliances in your home that you're about to buy. So very important that either you ask your realtor to write it into the contract. So ask for a home warranty, look at the different plans, have your realtor put in there whichever plan that you choose and the price point that you feel comfortable with. And a lot of times the seller will end up paying that home warranty for you. But in a market like this, it's not happening as often. So I do want you to know that as the buyer of that property, you can buy the home warranty yourself. And with some companies, you can make monthly payments, which is a nice thing to have. So always ask for it as a buyer. And if you don't have somebody else paying for it, you can buy it for yourself. On the other side, when you're selling your house, we do have seller's coverage, which is actually free. And it doesn't have to be paid for. It's free to the seller and then it transfers to the buyer at closing. So nothing has to be paid until the day of closing. And that's 6 months of coverage for the seller while your house is on the market. Also, we cover all types of properties, single family homes, townhouse, condos, mobile homes, multi-family homes, all kinds of property types. And anybody who owns a home can actually put a home warranty on. So if you have a rental property, a vacation home, you have an existing property right now that you want to put a home warranty on, you can also do that. So that's pretty much what a home warranty is, and we'll pass it on to the next person, which is the loan process. Sue Shaw, and I don't know, is Nikki here?
Yes.
Sue and Nikki?
Yeah,
All right.
well, I'll start and then Nikki can finish up. How's that?
Sounds good.
So I'm Sue Shaw with Home State Bank, and we're a residential lender. And like Lori, I've been in the industry 36 years, which is, gosh darn it, a long time. But getting back to the process and so forth, when you get to the point you've already been pre-approved, you found the property, you've worked with your realtor, when you've got an accepted contract, sends over your contract to your loan officer. And from there, your loan officer, well, while that's going on, your attorney is reviewing your contract and you're getting your home inspection taken care of. And in that time frame, by the time your loan officer has your loan input, because they've gotten your contract from the realtor and has your loan documents ready for your signatures, your attorney's approval process is usually done, and you've gotten the results of your home inspection, and your loan is originated with your loan officer, and the ball is rolling. From there, as your loan officer with Home State Bank, I will upload your loan into operations, and my opening team will start working on your loan. One of the first things they will do, and we have to have your loan application signed with an intent to proceed before we can order an appraisal by law. But once that's done, the first thing we do is get your appraisal ordered and get other things going on your loan that have to happen. IRS tax transcripts and some backroom things. From there, my opening team will contact you if I've missed a document or two that I should have maybe asked for or gathered. If they catch it, they'll ask for it. And then during that time frame, the loan will move from our opening team to processing. At that point, our processor reviews your loan. And again, there may be a new needs list. They may uncover something that, hey, this paycheck stub was cut off. We need to get a couple of things. They'll introduce themselves, they'll request it from you, and you'll supply it. And that's the really important part for you, the borrower, is to cooperate with your loan officer and your operations team at the lender, because they're there to help you. We work with your realtor hand in hand. We work with your attorney hand in hand. We're all a team, and we're working to get your loan done. By the time the loan gets to processing, they've asked you for a couple of things from the needs list. Your appraisal should have arrived from the appraisal management company, and you'll get a copy of your appraisal. Always, you pay for it, it's yours. But at that time, when the appraisal arrives, and hopefully what Amber touched on, there's no issue with value, we'll be ready to submit your loan for a physical underwrite. Like Lori had talked about, we've already have automated underwriting approval because that was done up front. But basically, a human being is now going to read all the documents and make sure what we put into the computer to get your loan approved is actually what we've documented properly. And then once your loan is approved, that's the first pass through underwriting. You'll get a mortgage commitment letter that says, congratulations, your loan's approved. Here's the conditions of approval. There's usually a few little things, maybe an updated pay stub, whatever it may be. We contact you, we collect the documents, we clear your conditions, we get what's called the clear to close. We let your attorney and realtor know, as well as you. And then we all get happy and we schedule your closing. And then prior to the closing, there's a few last steps as your lender. We'll have you, we'll disclose a closing disclosure that we'll review with you. We'll have you sign off on it to make sure everybody's in agreement on your cash to close. We'll instruct you along with your attorney to get your cashier's check, and we'll position you for a smooth closing. And that's how we do it. And I'm going to turn it over to Nikki. Thank you.
So we have a very similar process. I think most lenders do right now.
Right.
As moving the file through, the pipeline from when you're under contract to closing. I would say, what the one thing that we always ask for is as you're in the pre-approval process and you're home shopping, that when you get an updated pay stub and when you get an updated bank statement, that you just send it to us. That way, once you find a house, you know, you're already under contract and you're excited and you're probably looking for furniture and things like that. So if you send the things along the way, it doesn't make once you're under contract, you know, as stressful. So we do the same thing. We'll write, as you are under contract, we'll discuss locking the loan with the interest rate. We'll order the appraisal, do the same process, submit to underwriting. And when we submit for the clear to close, we send out probably the, you know, second most important set of documents, which is the closing disclosure. That has to be signed by you 3 days prior to closing, and it'll give you a very good estimate of what you need to bring into closing. And you're going to get a cashier's check if you need under $50,000. If you're sending over $50,000, you're going to get a wire. So myself and your attorney will probably work together getting you the wire instructions. And then I'll ask that you call the title company the day of closing and confirm the wiring instructions, so there's no problems there. Other than that, everything that Sue discussed is mainly the same.
Nikki, can I jump in?
Yeah.
So sometimes people have this idea that they need 20% down, they need tens of thousands of dollars in order to buy a house. Can you address that briefly, please?
Sure. So you can put with a conventional loan as little as 3% down.
If you're a first-time home buyer.
Well, as long as one person's a first-time home buyer. The other thing is FHA, you can put 3.5% down. It has a little more lax of underwriting guidelines. So, you know, everybody's gone through some past troubles with our past recession and even now with COVID. So an FHA loan allows for a low down payment and they have less stringent guidelines. And then the other things that, you know, once you talk to one of us lenders who's here, is there are down payment assistance programs. So those are really important to ask about as well. And you don't need to be a first-time home buyer for them. So maybe you just want to, you know, maybe you're in a condo and your family grew and you need some grant funds to help you with the down payment. Those are available to you. There's a new one where part of your student loans can be paid off. So just ask us those questions at the point of pre-approval, because those are really great tools that can help you get into a house, whether it's a low down payment or a grant option. Does that help, Jim?
That's perfect. And that was the point I want to make, is it's really critical for you all as home buyers, potential home buyers here on this call, to contact your lender upfront first, get the process started, and understand what products are out there. There's a slew of different products available in the loan market. You need an expert. You need Nikki or Sue or Lori or any of the others that we have that are experts in helping identify what the best product is for you. And as Nikki talked about the down payment resource options, there are programs out there. They are experts in it. You don't have to be. They're going to ask you the key questions to determine what you can get. And trust me when I say this, third party, they're going to do everything they can to get you as much money as possible, as much free money as possible, and to put you in the right program that makes the most sense for you. I am confident of that.
Jim, can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
Just kind of going along with the ladies talking about the loans and the process. Anybody who's thinking about going out and buying a home, please, once you have your pre-approval letter, your pre-qualification letter, please don't go and buy a car or finance a washer
Or
and
new
dryer.
furniture.
Do not. It's very exciting to be like, I have this house under contract and I'm pre-approved and everything is great. And I'm going to go get furniture for it. And then that changes everything at the end of the day.
Including no new credit cards.
No
Yeah.
credit cards. Do not put anything on your credit report. Do not screw up your loan to value ratio. Don't. Okay. Anyways, I'm not the lender. I just know that this has happened and it's my advice.
All right, we're going to come back to the lenders. I know we're going to curious about the process for cash purchases. So Lisa, we're going to come back to that. We're going to finish up. We have a couple more, 3 more presenters here, and then we're going to answer questions. So Bill Wilson, so the insurance agent, you know, I'll be honest, Bill. So oftentimes we're doing these kind of sessions, and these aren't new sessions, but you know, we like to put a new twist to them. We often leave out the insurance agent. Well, we didn't do that this time because we know, all of us in the room, the presenters understand that having a good insurance agent is key. So please take it away.
Well, I'm honored to be here for sure. And thank you very much. Yeah, so I am Bill Wilson. I've been with Country Financial. We've gone through a couple different branding changes over the years. Country companies, you know, 20 to 23 years ago, Country Insurance and Financial Services. And now we're Country Financial. 23 years in Woodstock is my resume. Our office staff that we have here is 45 years of insurance only experience. So we do have the capacity to help people as much as we can. I'll try to be as short as possible. I wouldn't want you to not invite an insurance agent on the next one by making this too long. So yeah, a home buyer or a first-time home buyer, either they contact us that they're buying a home and maybe they're going to, you know, want to see in advance how much it might cost them and that sort of thing. And that's fantastic. That's what we specialize in. We love that part of the process. First-time home buyers, we need to spend a little more time on some of the more intricate things that could go wrong. We try to always gauge all of our conversations on the things that could go wrong with insurance. And then we offer those scenarios. And of course, to make sure there's no gaps in your homeowner's insurance coverage, sometimes that costs more money to add the wife's engagement ring, to be sure your basement has sump pump and sewer protection, you know, down there. So those are the things we'd like to spend a little more time with. The process of where we're at tonight, I believe, is pretty simple for us. We alert the homeowner or we alert the lender to get us the information via email. Okay, that would have the mortgagee clause. That would have the closing date. That would have the purchase amount. And for us, that's not hugely important. And then we just let the people know that we want to do the entire process with the lender so that the home buyer doesn't have to get involved in this paperwork scenario to get the evidence of insurance all taken care of, get that process all done. Typically, that takes us less than 1 business day. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's a half hour, depending on our workflow for that day. And then we simply prepare the evidence of insurance document for the lender, and it's all done through email. We will contact our insured and let them know what the premium is. We'll put the premium on the evidence of insurance. The lender gets all that. We either have our homeowner drop off the annual premium as required by lending, or have that taken out at closing. And then I'm not sure at that point if it's the title company or the lender, but they send it either to our office locally or down to Bloomington to our home offices. And that part of it is really, really simple for both the customer and hopefully the loan people, as well as they have other projects they have to get done. So that is basically everything we try to do at that point in time. And if there are no other questions, if I've missed something, chime in later. And I could turn it over to Katie O'Neill. Thank you all very, very much. And I hope to hear from you in some fashion or another in the future.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. I'm Katie O'Neill. I'm with Heritage Title Company. We have several locations, and I just wanted to give a brief 101 about title insurance and what exactly it is and what it does for you. It's different from any other insurance that you pay for, being that it's the only insurance that you actually only pay for one time. instead of making monthly payments on that. And what it's ensuring is ensuring you from the time you purchase your home backwards through, the whole entire history of your property, making sure that there aren't any, all the mortgages are taken care of, all the encumbrances and easements and liens. So traditionally in our area, the seller's attorney will choose a title company and place their order. It's not to say that you can't shop for it as well, but that's just traditionally how it works in our area here. We'll assist with the attorney in pulling the title and reviewing the clouds and defects on there, if there are any. So they will place the order. We will do that history for them. And they will, so basically they want to make sure that the chain of the ownership of your property is clean. So any mortgages that have been taken out on the property have been taken care of or paid off. There aren't any liens on the property. There's no encroachments on your survey. There's nothing encumbering your property from having a clean title. All of that will get taken care of between the attorney and the title company. Sorry, my dog is distracting me. So then we also prepare your title policy for you. So in this area, the seller traditionally pays for the owner's policy and the buyer will pay for the lender's policy if you have a mortgage on the property. Then the lender will want to be insured as well for that property. And then we will prepare all the final figures for you, working with your attorney as well. So we'll make sure that they get us all the figures in. We handle taking care of the money, the escrow, and making sure that everyone gets paid. Like Bill was saying, usually the title company will pay the insurance company out of the closing. They'll pay the attorney, they'll pay, everyone that we are instructed to pay. We never make up the numbers. We always get them from someone. So that's basically, we rely on our attorneys and our realtors to get us their figures to let us know who gets paid what. And so that we can cut checks in a timely manner for you at your closing. And I know Aaron thinks that, looking for the house is the most fun part, but usually people are pretty excited when they make it to the title company to close.
You're right, Katie, sorry about that.
That's okay. So with that, I will turn it back over to, I'll turn it over to Peter now.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, I was just gonna say, what could be more fun than encroachments and liens and easements? Certainly looking at beautiful homes isn't more fun than that. What's up, everybody? Peter Schimpf with Chicago Title. Hope you're all having a great day. I get to discuss the fun part, the closing day, when you get keys. So it's pretty simple. You've made it through all the tough steps in the transaction. You've gone through inspection, and Amber has done her part. Beating up the other side, making sure to get you the best credits possible. All the lenders have done their part, getting you the clear to close and all the fun pieces that go into that. You got your insurance, and now we're at the table. So just a couple of points. You're going to want to bring your ID, some form of government issued ID, so we can verify that it's you that's buying the house. You're either going to bring funds for the purchase. If it's under $50,000, you can bring a cashier's check, or if it's under $10,000 to $5,000, you can bring a personal check. And then if it's over $50,000, you're going to wire the funds. One thing I will say about that, and I'm sure you've heard it many times, please be alert for wire fraud. Over at Chicago Title, we say inquire before you wire, because this is one of the most exciting things you're ever going to do in your life is purchase a home, and nothing would be worse than showing up to the closing table and your life savings not being there. So if you work with Amber, I'm sure she will tell you to call the title company. Make sure you call Heritage, make sure you call First American, Chicago Title, wherever you're purchasing, and confirm those wire instructions. That's really the most important part, because there's nothing more depressing in my job than hearing about people's entire life savings being intercepted. So on that happy note, if there are any other additional documents to bring to closing, like if you're closing in a land trust and you need to bring a land trust deed, or there was something that came up, that you would want to bring, you'd want to bring that. Closing times vary. We like to keep everything fast, under an hour, but depending on a bunch of different variables, sometimes they do take a little bit longer. Cash deals are certainly pretty quick, but like I said, we strive to try to keep everything under an hour, and then just go enjoy the new house. Pop some champagne and enjoy the gifts from all your realtor and lender and all the great people that helped you along the transaction, and enjoy. That's all I got.
So Peter, actually, this might be an Amber question, but so the fees, everybody is getting a little something to make this all happen. How does that get paid for? So Amber, do you want to address that maybe better from the attorney of, the home inspector fee? What fees are outside of closing? What fees are at closing, just traditionally?
So yeah, so traditionally, most things are getting paid at closing. We like to show everything on the master statement, so that way everything's there and accounted for. So a lot of it is, if it's paid by the seller, it comes out of the seller proceeds. If it's paid by the buyer has to bring in extra money to cover those fees. So
The two things that I advise the clients, buyers on, are the things that you will pay up front out of pocket are generally your home inspection and radon tests. And then your appraisal. They will order your
Appraisal fee with the lender. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the two big fees before you actually get to closing. So I usually ballpark it that you're going to spend somewhere around $1,000 up front, maybe a little bit more before you get to the closing table. And that's outside. And the other thing too is your earnest money. So depending on what you negotiate in your contract, you've got kind of three big things to cover. And then like Amber said, everything else is in your closing costs. So earnest money up front, home inspection, any other inspections up front, appraisal up front. And then from there, you're going to go into the fees that Amber, Katie, and Peter were referencing.
Aaron, we've got three questions, but I want you to talk a little bit more about the earnest money. How much is that? What is that? Where is this money going?
That's actually a great question. Thank you, Jim, for bringing that up, or whoever did. So earnest money is part of your contract, and what we're seeing these days is just a little bit different than, say, last year at this time, actually. It can range anywhere from about 1% of the purchase price up to, whatever you feel like your agent and you decide that's going to, be a comfortable amount for you to have a strong offer. It is negotiable. So you could put down 1% and then, the sellers could come back and say, this is part of our counter and we want you to put down, we want earnest money of $5,000 instead, whatever the 1% was. It could have been, $2,000. So, and then, so Jim had also asked, where is it going? So it is held by either the listing agent's office, or it is held by the title company. It could also be held by an attorney, whoever the seller, this listing office directs. And that buyers actually get that back at closing. So part of the money. Yeah, go ahead, Susan. I'll let you answer.
I was just going to say, the money that they're laying out from up front, the appraisal, the earnest money, that is going to reduce their cash to close. Mm-hmm. So understand, as a buyer, that's not in addition to your down payment and other things. The one thing that really is outside of the closing process would really be the home inspection. They're going to pay that before they go to the lender. When they go to the lender, they pay the appraisal fee, which again reduces their cash to close. They've also put up earnest money, like good faith money, because the earnest money is basically telling the seller, if you're taking your house off the market and allowing me time to go get my financing, I'm telling you, I'm serious. I'm in good faith putting up my money, and I'm not going to change my mind because I know just changing my mind, I'm going to lose that money. But the money that they put up in earnest money, good faith money, reduces their cash to close. That's what you were trying to say, the same thing. They get it back, but it will reduce their cash to close.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, we have 3 questions. I'm going to go with Kathy and then Lisa and then back to Kathy. So Aaron, this is mostly for you, I would think. So question, is it okay to, so what is best to do? My husband and I both have their own places. Is it best to sell both places at the same time and then move to temporarily to an apartment? Or is it better to sell one, then move somewhere, then sell the second one? What do you recommend?
Jim, you're asking me, you said?
Well, whomever, but you know.
Yes. Okay. It depends, actually. The answer to that is it depends. It depends on what they are qualified for. So do you need to sell both of your houses in order to have a stronger pre-approval? You know, and it also depends on if you know, we can find a short-term rental. Definitely selling one will get you, you know, again, depends on what you've got in your savings, and do you need to sell the one to be able to, you know, have a chunk of money for, you know, a down payment on the next one, and can you afford to do it and then keep the one house and then be, you know, in a good place to be out of that other house. It's always nice to be out of the way when there's showings, because in today's market, you're getting a ton of showings. You know, in one day you could have, you know, 7 to 10 showings. You're going to be kicked out of your house all day. So it is kind of nice to have somewhere else to go if you've got the ability to sell first, and then, you know, sell the one house first, move into the second house, and then buy something and then sell that one. So it really is going to depend on what you're qualified for.
Well, I think you hit on
They
the
should
head.
talk to a lender.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think what the biggest piece of this is what can you afford to do? If you're
Exactly.
cash rich and you know you can afford to buy a new house before selling either one of these, then maybe that's easier for you. But I think to Aaron's point, most often people are going to at least need to sell one, maybe both, in order to purchase that next house. So perhaps you sell one, you both move into the other one, then you sell that one, and while that one's selling, you're buying the next one. You close on your purchase and your second sale the same day. But you know, getting all the timing, that's where Amber and all the experts come in to help coordinate all those things. So
I will add can I add one little piece to that, Jim? In the market that we're experiencing these days, it is not, it wouldn't be a very strong offer to have a contingency, a home sale contingency on that. A home close contingency, maybe. A home sale contingency means you need to sell you need to get it under contract. A home close contingency means you've got a house under contract, but you need to sell it in order to buy the next one. So, you know, in a perfect world, you know, if you still held on to one of those two houses, you would not need to sell it in order to purchase. So if that's the case where both need to go, you definitely want to find a short-term rental.
Kathy, I suggest this is a conversation for you to have a Zoom meeting with an agent and a lender to wrap around the 3 of you to have a conversation about your goals here. Lisa had a question, curious about the process for cash purchases. Who'd like that one? Cash.
I mean, I can jump in a little bit. I know Amber will be able to go. I'll take it. The process. Oh, okay. I thought there was more to it. I'm sorry, misunderstood. Cash, if you're purchasing with cash, is that what I'm understanding the question is?
Yeah,
then?
cash purchase process.
Okay, I don't have the chat box though. So that's actually great, and that part of your offer, that will be a stronger element in, you know, what I call the meat and the potatoes of the offer. And cash is king. So you do, though, much like a pre-approval, you do need to prove that you have that money in an account somewhere. And there's a couple different ways to do that. You can, you know, show an account statement. And I always suggest to my clients that you will take off the, you know, the pertinent information like your account numbers and stuff. We don't want to see that, but we do need to see that the name is, you know, your name is on there, and that will get submitted with the offer. That is, you know, that is the basics of it. At closing, though, if you do have a cash offer, you're in a little bit of a benefit too, because I'm a little foggy on this. Katie might have to jump in, or Peter might have to jump in, but I believe that when you are a cash buyer, the seller ends up paying a little bit extra on something at closing. Can somebody else help me with that?
The escrow fee, they split
Yes.
the escrow fee. So yeah, good point, Aaron.
So it kind of helps you in more ways than one if you're a cash buyer, upfront on the offer, and then at the back end when you're paying your closing costs.
And I would just add that like everything else stays the same. So you just essentially don't have a mortgage contingency because you're paying cash, but you still have the rights to an inspection and everything else in the home buying process. You just don't have the mortgage portion of the contract.
And in this tight market with so few homes being available, it does put the buyer at an advantage over someone who has a mortgage contingency clause in their contract. If your cash offer is coming up against someone who has a mortgage requirement, they're going to have to jump through hoops, the appraisal and all the other things to get that mortgage solidified, where cash offer won't. So at least in theory, often the cash offer sits much higher than a purchase offer would. I had another question and I forgot it. So let's move on to this one, which is, Kathy says she just had her place refinanced last year. She heard there will be a penalty if she sells it too soon. How many years before she can sell her place? This is also what's holding us up. Thank you. So Lori Pittner, are you with us? You want to jump on that one? Oh, you're muted, honey.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You need to really double check, and it's simple as calling your lender, because most places in Illinois don't allow a prepayment penalty anymore. So you actually shouldn't, at least with most lenders that in our area. Now, obviously, if you got a loan from a lender that loans in all 50 states and in their particular state, their charter allows them to do it, it's possible. But it's very rare these days that you find a prepayment penalty on the mortgages. So I would certainly call your lender and verify that and make sure they send you a copy of your note showing you that there's a prepayment penalty, because you don't want them to tell you that there's a prepayment penalty when there really isn't. So you shouldn't be precluded from being able to sell it and purchase up these days, as long as that isn't on there. If there is a prepayment on there, you would just need to find out how long it is for. Typically speaking, the longest I've ever seen a prepayment penalty was 24 months. But again, it's been years since I've seen one where they wanted you to keep the loan with them for 24 months and then you could sell and there's no penalty anymore. But I would be really surprised if you had one if you just refinanced.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
with you, Lori.
wondering
When I
if it's
read,
like a recapture fee, like it, that might be what her loan officer explained to her. Like if she pays off the refinance early, they might have a recapture fee, so maybe that's what they told her, I bet.
You mean
And
if
Yeah,
they use
but I still
somebody
find
to
it very
recapture?
odd.
You can do it. It's not like Kathy, it's not like, or who, Patty, it's not like, or I don't know who it was
Kathy.
that.
It was
Oh,
Lori.
Kathy. So it's not like I was talking the question from the client.
Gotcha.
It's not like you can't pay off that mortgage. It's just that some lenders have a recapture fee. And if you sell your property or refinance within, 6 months, let's say, of that date, then, the lender has to pay back their commission. So they're probably just deterring you, by saying that, you can't do it yet. But I doubt there's a prepayment penalty, just like Lori.
Yeah, most lenders do have an early payoff penalty for them when their customers pay a loan off within 6 months, which
But
is
that's
a
all
bummer.
internal.
So maybe they might have been implying it that way to buy some time. if you will.
Probably.
so Kathy, I think the point that is well made is you should contact your lender and verify that. Because when I read this, my reaction was the same as Lori's of probably not. It's very unlikely that you would actually have a fee like that.
And it would have to say in the note.
Yeah, it would have to. So question for inspector, I'm not sure I understand. With infrared, there are always as that usually is being something wrong. So infrared, I think what they're saying is with your infrared cameras, you're always able to find a problem.
If I may speak, may I speak?
Yes.
Okay, what I was trying to say is that it seems like with inspectors nowadays, obviously there's always going to be some issues, right? And we kind of have to help our clients to figure out what's going on. And, an inspector is always going to find things. So
Yeah.
with infrared now, is the inspector going to explain in depth? Because with infrared, we're going deep into the house. That's my question.
So John, how do you handle issues when you find them, whether they're large or small? How do you handle that conversation with the client?
You know, within home inspection, everything is perspective. The infrared, basically, it's used more of a tool for when clients ask those questions. How are my windows performing? How are my windows or my doors sealed and airtight? Infrared is a great thermometer. It reads temperatures well. And when you spend a lot of money, it reads it really well. So it shows moisture and different things in the house. And that was kind of my lead up in my presentation is home inspections have changed a lot. And to sum that up, as a home inspector for 17 years, our new construction list, brand new house, is between 10 to 15 line items. When we inspect a brand new home that was just built, the builder says we're selling it, it's done. Our list is between 10 and 15 line items on a brand new home. So just to give some perspective on a home inspection, yes, in short, there's always going to be things with a house because a house is always changing, it's breathing, it's getting cold, it's getting hot, it's expanding and contracting.
Very good. Thanks, John. So John, let me just ask you this. So a patio door that's 20 years old, like probably the one in my house, what's the R value of that versus the R value of a wall?
Yeah, R value would be hard to translate into. For instance, I've inspected windows that are single pane, built somewhere in the 50s, 60s, that would read a temperature of about 50 degrees on the surface. That's meaning how much cold air is I'm seeing come into the home. Where a double pane window, of Anderson, Pella, Marvin, depending on the temperature of the home, you're seeing around a 60 degree, 63, 65, closer to the temperature of the house. Usually the drywall temperature is 70, 71 degrees. Your windows are typically colder, but better is, warmer is better. So,
Thanks.
yeah.
And I guess my point was a patio door, an older patio door, especially a single pane.
They are going to seep a little. Yeah.
There's not a lot of insulation there. You're getting a lot of cold air transfer.
But most of that is how the seals are around the windows. You're not talking replacement of windows. You're talking fixing them. Windows are expensive. You don't need to, in some cases, replace them. Then the IR camera or infrared camera proves that a fogged window does not allow a temperature difference in your home. When you see those nasty fogged windows, you're not losing heating or cooling from that.
Aesthetically, it's just more difficult to see through. And
it's just an aesthetic issue.
So, and I would just make a blanket statement that my wife and I own investment property. We have a number of properties. We bought properties over the years. We get them inspected every time. It is well worth a few $100s to have that inspector come out. And even if they should find nothing, which is rare, to Patty's point, I think, even if they find nothing, that's a good peace of mind for me and my wife that, hey, we bought a solid home here.
Right.
Or conversely, they come in and they find issues. Then we know what's wrong with the property. Then we know what we need to fix. And with the help of the inspector and the attorney, we can itemize and identify what the priorities are and if there's any recourse and anything more that we need to move forward.
Exactly.
I'm not seeing any other questions here. So if there are any others, we're going to wrap up. I do have the contact info on the screen. Take a screenshot of that. Or of course, I did put the link in twice. Any other final thoughts? Anyone? What else did we miss? I mean, we missed a lot. We only did this for an hour, but what else? Anything we need? Last thoughts from anybody?
Mm.
Thank you, Jim. I think you did bring my point to question, because when he said they have infrared cameras, I was thinking like, okay, so now you're looking under the floor, you're looking in the walls, you're always going to find all kinds of stuff. We're never going to sell a house at that point. You know what I mean?
To
It's
some
already
degree,
it's already difficult with regular inspections, I feel like.
and I tell the new agents and new agent training that there are some inspectors that come in looking for problems, looking to say, hey, look, I've just saved, or you've just saved a whole bunch of money by hiring me. Aren't you glad you hired me? And others, and I would say almost all the others, most of the others come in and they just do their job. They're going through each room by room. They're looking at what the house has. They're going to stop at the furnace. They're going to stop at the appliances. They're going to do all the systems. And that's exactly what you want. They're going to point out to you what cosmetic things they find. They're going to show you what things are systematic issues. They're going to tell you, what are more larger concerns. And then that gives you the ammunition for you and your agent to have a conversation with the attorney about, is there recourse? Do we need to negotiate further, or are we okay with this? And just keep in mind, as Aaron's talked about, this is a really tough market. So the less things you can ask for, the less reasons you give that seller to kill your deal, the better off you are today anyway.
I was just going to say that, Jim, that it does, if you're in a multiple offer and there's 6 other offers on that property and you come back and say, oh yeah, I want you to do this and this and this, there's a good chance that they're going to be like, see you later, we'll go to the next guy. But also in the contract, it is about the major mechanical systems in the house that are, the most important thing. Not that, I'm discounting anything else, but the contract does specify which systems are, I guess, what would you say, counted or,
I
right?
think it has to affect the health or habitability of the house.
Thank you.
So it's like when people get into, there's a cracked tile in the bathroom. Okay, that's really not something that's going to affect your health or habitability in the house. So.
And having an agent and your attorney work with you on that is key critical. You want an experienced agent that's going to be able to help you walk through that. An attorney that understands real estate, so you know what the best approach is for this. And they do know, and they will counsel you. They are experts. They're going to walk you through those processes. And I guess maybe that's the final wrap up here, is all of these people on the call, all these presenters, they're all part of the team, as I think Aaron said earlier, all part of the team to help you reach that end goal. They're all here to do their specialty to make sure that your goal of buying or selling the property is met, and met to your in your best interest. I mean, agents have a fiduciary duty to work in your best interest, just like attorneys do. So they're going to all do that for you. Anything else, guys? We're going to wrap up the call here. Thank you all for joining us. If you have questions or comments, you can certainly email Heartland, info@heartlandro.com, and I'll respond to those. If you have special questions for any of the people, we have the contact information on the screen for the presenters, as well as our other Premier affiliate members. We thank you all. We had about 35 people at one point on the call here. Was very good. So thanks to presenters. Thanks to the audience. Aaron, any final words?
Happy shopping.
Good
Enjoy
luck.
spring.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good luck.
everybody. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Oh, I didn't do I did do that part.